Okay, I'm back, and I think this will be the last video about the wing. Got the two wing servos installed, and they all look good. So I got my bag with my wing stuff in it, and so now we're going to put the two wings together using this centerpiece. The speed brakes I'm not going to do right now. I want to fly it for the first time without the speed brakes, just as a maiden flight. I don't think you really need them, but I'll try them later after the maiden flight, and I'll show you what they look like, how to install them, and how well they fly with it on, and whether I recommend them or not. I've never flown with them yet. Okay, so I got a bag of screws, and I got my black bolt, which I'll after we get the wing together, I'll show you how that works. So need one more thing. I need the bar that goes between them all. So I'll be right back. Okay, I got the steel rod that goes between the two wings, and the anti-rotation pin is in my bag here. So looks pretty straightforward. Remember, we're not going to have a servo here, so we're going to have this big opening, so it won't be any problem to have that servo wire there. So I'm going to start with putting the rod in this side to make sure it fits and gets all the way down, and it does seem a little tight. Okay, that bottomed out. That's good. Remember, this wing isn't going to come apart ever, unless you really need to take it apart. I would not take it apart after every time you fly or whatever. So I think what I'm going to do, okay, so that went in kind of tight. I'm going to try the other side to make sure that it goes in smoothly and not too tight. Okay, yeah, that's pretty tight. So I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and assemble this. This goes in there. You get out the anti-rotation pin, because you got to sort of put that on before you put the center section on. So I'm going to put the anti-rotation pin in on this side, and it's just a matter, you can see the size of the pin there. It's just a matter of getting it in far enough, and that's what far enough looks like. And then you just slide this on, and it's a tight fit. Okay, don't pinch the wire, but it is a tight fit, and you have to sort of work its way down. And that pop you heard was the anti-rotation pin coming through this little hole right there. Okay, I should have probably gotten that in straighter first. Okay, so that's good and tight, and then we'll see how well it fits on this side. That anti-rotation pin is gonna slide right in, I hope. We'll see. Okay. Now you got a dihedral to hold here, so you got, it doesn't go in, you know, because of the dihedral, that little point there. So I want to make sure that the anti-rotation pin does get in. And it looks like it's not going in. I'll be back in a second. Let me see if there's a better way to do this. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I found my problem. As I took the center section out to see if the anti-rotation pin is causing a problem, and it is. As you can see there, the anti-rotation pin is not straight. In other words, what I've got here is, if you end up pushing the anti-rotation pin in on one side, then it doesn't meet the hole on the other side. So I'm going to have to take a small round file and file the hole in one direction from one side and get that to fit. So I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the main steel rod in, and this anti-rotation pin is off by about 3/30 maybe. I'm going to use a fine Sharpie marker here and see exactly how much I've got to file it. So maybe it's only 1/8 of an inch. But 1/8 of an inch is a lot when you're trying to get a steel rod into a piece of wood when the holes don't match up. So I have marked that. I'm going to have the steel rod and the anti-rotation pin in the same wing, and then you can see on the end of this wing where I've marked it, and the hole needs to come toward the aileron here about that much. So I'll be back with a round file and get that done. Okay, I'm back and I found a half round file. I'm a woodworker, so I've got all kinds of little woodworking tools, and but you can probably pick one of these up at a hardware store. But it's a half round file, and I'm just going to slowly file it down. When you stick it in there, it does bottom out because there's a little box there that prevents the pin from falling all the way through. So you're just going to have to do short little filing strokes to file it back. Another option is to use a hobby knife, but hobby knife won't be as good as a file, so I'm going to try it this way. Okay, I'm back, and you can see I've extended that hole. I did it with a combination of 3 tools. I used the half round file. I also used an X-Acto knife that is a saw blade. That helped. And then I also used a 5/32 drill by hand. Don't use a power drill with it. Just by hand, spin it in there and sort of dig it out. And that worked. So I'll be back in a second. I'll show you how you screw it all together. Okay, I'm back, and let me show you the end point here now. So you want to make sure, you can see there's a little bit of gap on that side, and it's flush on this side. That's actually the right side. But if you can squeeze them together like that, and so that there's no gap on either side, then you're home free. So go ahead and get it nice and tight and make sure there's no gap. And as I said, the gap on the one side is on the side that where the pin originated. That's good and tight. Anti-rotation pin isn't going to be that effective anyways, because the plastic's going to hold anything to keep it from anti-rotating. So next to get the screws out and screw it in. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back, and these screws are 1/8 inch screws, and if you look carefully, you might see 4 holes where these go in. And if you get this in nice and tight, and you take a 1/16 drill bit, you can poke around in there and break the covering, and you'll find that there are 4 holes in the wood that use as pilot holes for drilling these in. So take a 1/16 drill bit, don't use a drill on it, and that'll get the 4 screws. So I'm going to start the 4 screws and tighten all 4 at the same time. If they're slightly off, it'll pull it together because the holes are to the outside, which is good, which means that as you tighten them in, they'll tighten up. And so let me get my screwdriver. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to use my power screwdriver first, and I've got this thing supported right in the center with these blocks. They're blocks my wife used for Pilates or something, I don't know. They're exercise blocks. So I'm going to start with the electric screwdriver, see how far down I can go. Okay, that's far enough on that one. That's far enough on that one. That's far enough on that one. That one's a little off on the hole, so it's angled a little bit. I may back him out and start again. Okay, I think it will. Okay, but as far as I'm going to go with the electric one, actually these two might go in a little further. The two in the front were lined up pretty well. Unfortunately, we are using Phillips heads, so they're following a pre-drilled hole that isn't helping much. So you're just going to have to work these down in one at a time. Alright, try not to mess up the head of the Phillips head, and get them in. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, almost got them all in. I'll show you a little technique I used with my powered screwdriver. If you get it going and it stops, then if you just twist this drill bit, really doesn't slip out of that Phillips head. So sometimes you just have to work them in nice and slow. Okay, you don't have to wrench those down hard. They're not coming out, and there's nothing going to go side to side either. So that's in. You got your leads coming out. I've got those taped down, and I think this wing is done. Looks pretty good. Don't know what I'll do about these. I don't think I'm going to leave that on because it probably is going to get in the way of mounting, but I'm later on when I test out my throws of the aileron, I want to make sure that the throw of the aileron isn't hindered by the wood and this. So we'll see how that works. Okay, hope you enjoyed this video and stay tuned for the next one.